Faith Forged in Fire, where we dive headfirst into the unique challenges and triumphs that comes with being a firefighter, all while exploring what it means to live out a biblical worldview. Join us as we find hope, perseverance, and faith in the midst of the heat and chaos. Welcome to the podcast.
So, and 2 weeks ago, in the last episode that we just recorded, not last week's. I'm not. Maybe I am trying to confuse you a little bit. We talked about the brotherhood of a volunteer fire department, and all of that, and it made me reflect on how long we've been friends and how you got stuck with a stupid 16-year-old, and had to babysit.
I'm not touching you.
Yeah,
and here we are,
16-year-old,
23 years later.
And
I know.
hasn't changed.
I know. And it hasn't changed.
Thanks. Make me feel old.
You were old then.
You know what? We're not going down there. So, welcome to the podcast. The silver squirrel is front and center.
What?
The squirrel is chrome.
The squirrel is chrome.
The chrome is squirrel. I can't believe it. Sorry, you were saying.
Your ability to be a ventriloquist is horrible.
Last episode of the month, so you might as well expect a train wreck.
You do better. Lightning McQueen, let's see it.
You know, it's funny because a couple episodes ago we were talking about we needed a dummy with a string in the back. It'd be a ventriloquist dummy. I actually have one at home, Charlie McCarthy, from about
thought you were about to tell us that you had a string attached to
45 years ago, maybe 50 years ago.
Is there anything that Rich hasn't tried at one point or another? Mm-mm. If he figures it out, he's going to try it.
Other than parachute, because they don't make a plane big enough to get that many people to push me out.
The gears are turning, but I'm just trying to choose which one is appropriate to say. And
so before Jake gets this PG rating rated up here, topic this week, whatever week of the month this week is.
The squirrel has acorns.
Acorns
are.
What makes a small town volunteer department so important?
That's a good question. Because sometimes I think we feel not important.
But what do we do that's so special?
Well, so
that nobody else can do.
I've been asking for you.
Call 911, the ambulance will come.
So here's the thing. And not to sound, this might sound, it doesn't mean it to sound arrogant, but we should be able to do everything a big city fire department can do.
Well, let's back up even further from that. What is a fire department anywhere?
It is supposed to be
to serve the community.
It is designed to be the first response to emergencies.
Sure. So backing up even from that, it's an insurance policy. A fire department is an insurance policy against certain dangers that you respond to
and quite literally
mitigate.
Is reflected in your insurance premiums, depending on the ISO rating.
That's right.
Of your department.
Correct. That's a pretty in-depth thing. If you've never went through one of those, don't.
If you've never gone through it, you're lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a thing though. If you buy a house, when you go to get homeowners insurance, they're going to look and see, in a sense, how good your fire department is. There's a ton of things well beyond my own, what I know, but things like what equipment do they have? How many people do they have? How quick are their response times? I don't think we
station
think
location,
about that
how much water can they move?
Yep. Because all that is recorded. When you call 911, from the time you call 911 to my pager going off to us calling in service, that's all recorded and tracked. So the faster we're able to get in service regularly, that helps. There's just all kinds of things.
But why does that matter? If I call 911 in a small town, why is Why is time essential?
A lot of reasons. First is if you have a fire doubles every minute. So think about that. You don't want to wait for the longer you have to wait. So let's
and that's at minimum.
That's at minimum. Let's back this up for a minute. A lot of times, a volunteer department, they're kind of tagged as they put out the basement, and we do sometimes. But I'm going to say it personally because for us, we are generally pretty aggressive about fighting fire, and we're quick. We get to the truck quick, and we get in service quick because we're right in town. We have a bunch of people right in town. We are quicker than most. We're not that much different than. We're not very much slower than some full-time departments. So anyway, but there are still times it's a total loss because we cover such a huge area.
Geographically speaking.
Yeah, you think about like when the department that I'm involved in, that it's the second largest in our state. They just built a brand new station because it was taking longer for them too long for the response time. And when I say a new station, it's closer. It's full. It's manned full time by 3 firefighters, and there's an engine there, and it's probably closer. It's at least the same distance to your closest neighboring station that is volunteer as well, right? So the point to that is they have strategically overlapped. They know what the response time should be, and they're quick because they have the money and the means to be able to do that. So you say, well, why wouldn't you build more fire stations? Wonderful. Who's going to man them? Because no volunteer fire department is overflowing with people that want to do this.
And who's gonna pay for it, right?
Well, that's the other thing. Who's going to pay for it?
That people don't like.
But if somebody donated the money,
oh sure,
you know,
well, and I mean, it would be nice, right, if you had larger coverage in an area. But like you said, it takes more people, and it takes more people that are willing to say, okay, I'm going to step up and serve my community. And
to all the things we talked about a couple of episodes ago.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Right, because if you get 2 stations and you put one here and you put one here, but most of the people live down here, now it's just taking them a little bit longer to get to the truck to get to the call.
Right.
Instead of running and getting the truck and traveling farther with the apparatus to get there. So if you don't have people centrally located around your new station,
right.
don't save a whole lot of time.
So, yeah, but the idea is we want to save lives ultimately in anything that we're doing. And if it wasn't for us, who would do that? And how far would they have to come from?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like in a stroke case, how do they say it? Time is brain, or however, whatever.
Time is brain cells.
Yeah. So the faster you can get to people, that's important.
And then somebody says, but you can't transport them. Yeah, but in that case, they've proven that just getting them high flow oxygen is going to help them.
Right.
So yeah, there are many things that we cannot do compared to an ambulance with a paramedic. In our state, there's not a lot of difference between an EMT and an MFR, but there's a lot of difference between
big jump between EMT and paramedic. Because a paramedic is essentially like an ER nurse out on an ambulance.
In some ways, yeah. So, but there's a lot of things we can do, and I have this conversation with patients because they're like, if I'm waiting for a while for the ambulance, because by the way, it is not unusual for us to get on scene and wait. Sometimes a half hour, 40 minutes for an ambulance.
I can't imagine that.
Depending on where they're coming from.
Right.
So as I'm talking to the patient, there's kind of this idea of like, well, you're just sitting here talking to me. What are you doing? And then I kind of calm their fears by saying, look, the fact that I'm not doing anything is good for you because the things I can do are going to be literally trying to keep you alive and saving your life in the worst situations. Mm-hmm. So the fact that I
sit here and wait for this.
So
ambulance,
while we sit here and wait for
some cookies.
Yeah. So be thankful you are not bad enough that I can do anything for you.
Right. But we also help expedite transport.
Yes.
So like in that case,
Right.
had you not arrived as a medical first responder and the person has been sitting there for a half hour waiting for ALS to arrive, now when ALS gets there, that's the beginning of the stopwatch, so to speak, of
Right.
care. Now, you got there in, say, 10 minutes, so you've been there 20 minutes, you've been giving them O2, you've been taking their vitals, you got their history, you got their medications, you got all of that stuff done. ALS gets there, you can give them the handoff report, help them load the guy up and get going. So it's all time.
Let's take that another
Or
step.
if it's bleeding, you can get the bleeding
Yeah.
stopped or slowed down at least. Or
Something traumatic like a car accident.
Right.
If we have time, we're going to have the patient out of the car on a backboard, what we would call packaged.
Yeah.
It sounds funny, but that's what we call it.
Packaged or bundled.
We package them. And then the goal in that moment is the ambulance shows up. We basically, here you go.
And even
Get out of here.
One step further than that, if it is critical, as in they're doing CPR, you can jump in and drive while they're doing their thing.
Yes, and that's
saving
something-
even more time.
That's something that we do that I don't
Yeah.
think a lot of people think about. If we do more so in my county because our fire department does not run medicals, the first response side of it, like Rich does in his county, is done with rescues, and I'm on that rescue. So it's the same idea.
Right.
It's just we're actually in that moment I'm employed by the same entity that the ambulance is, whereas for Rich, a private ambulance service shows up.
Right.
And I say that to say we train with them, we know them, that makes a difference. It's a lot easier to have me drive, insurance, all that stuff.
Oh yeah,
Because
Well,
I'm employed by the same. So I do that often.
You are working with another municipality essentially, whereas Rich is working with a private corporation that is an
I'm
ambulance
working with the
company.
same municipality.
That's what I mean. Yeah,
Right.
sorry. You're working within the same
Right.
municipality. Yeah.
And then you think about to get to the best hospital from where I live can easily be 45 minutes depending on where the call is. So now, I get in, I drive, or I get in the back and help, whichever just to get an extra set of hands when it's really bad.
Yeah.
And so there's that as well. There's lifting. There's all those kind of things. Right. Not to mention, what about all the training? One of the reasons we have so few fatalities in fires now is the fire safety training. Well, who's going to do that? We do that.
Yeah.
It's October. It's Fire Safety Month. I will end up most likely at schools this month, with other members from the fire department teaching kids fire safety.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, let's go back 2 episodes ago, the things that we do.
That people either discount or just don't even know about.
They don't know about. I don't get paid for that, by the way. That's
Right.
me donating my time. Happily. I keep saying that.
I was going to say, I will say that was something that I always enjoyed.
I love doing it.
When I was on Rich's department was that community outreach, that community engagement.
Mm-hmm.
I would intentionally, if I had time, I would take the medic out and I would drive through parts of the township, parts of the neighborhood that people normally didn't see us. There would, or if it was a new development built, I'd drive through just so they could see us and know who we are and recognize
that
us.
you're there, yep.
So when something does happen, they'll know who we are and what we look like. And it's simple. I need a couple hours of drive time and, just a couple hours of weekend duty or whatever. It's something simple that engages with the community. It's something that then also it reinforces that they are supported.
Yeah.
Where they may have not even known before. And there was one particular just little cul-de-sac basically where I drove in that I had never been before because it was mutually beneficial. I was learning these areas that I had never been.
Right. Yep.
But it was putting a presence out there for them to know that we're here as well. Well, a guy stopped me on the way back out, and his little girl was out in the yard when I drove by, and she was waving, and she was, thought that was the coolest thing. And I went down, turned around, and kind of got a count of how many houses was back there. Again, for me, it was just learning that area. And I was headed back out, and this guy stopped me, and he said, "Oh, it's so good to see you guys out here. I didn't know there was a fire department in the area. And I said, yeah, we're only about 2 miles from you, actually. So, you know, if you need something, we're going to be here pretty quick.
But the thing with small town fire departments, ours is literally in the center, like
of
what
the
we would
town,
see, right? The one stoplight we are on the corner. We are obvious. Like when people give directions around here, it's go to the stoplight. You'll see the fire department. Like go, but you guys, where Rich is and where you're talking about, where we got our start, it's kind of off the beaten path, and a lot of times they're that way. Not to mention, they don't even look like a fire station,
right?
Because
they look like a little
they're
school.
Whatever anybody can kind of put together.
Yeah,
you know, because there is no hardly any budget, so it's very easy to think there's not a fire department around.
Yeah.
So even just getting out and letting people know, hey, we're here.
I used to do that with what do we call it now? I have to rethink my small brain.
Oh,
it is now the our rescue one.
Yep.
So our old engine.
Our old.
No, the Rosenbauer,
the old
that
engine.
you know as Engine One.
Yep.
Has been renamed to Rescue One.
Okay.
Our new engine, our Spencer, is Engine One.
Are we supposed to you just advertise? Well, I guess you gave some equal opportunity advertisement.
Oh yeah, Steve Buckner loves me. Those guys build a beautiful truck.
Tell us about the E1.
So when we, I'm glad to see those gone. But when we,
That'll stir some.
the E1s,
If you have some opinion,
not Engine
No,
One.
fair. We're really
FFIF podcast
E1
at
brand name.
gmail.com. Let Steve know if you're disgruntled.
But like even back in the day when I was driving the Rosenbauer, if I went in to get fuel,
Yeah.
I would pull out of the parking lot and like drive through Meijer and just go real slow in front of the store.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you how many times I've done that now with the Spencer. If I run down there and I need fuel, I get fuel and I just drive through the parking lot. Just like,
And it's just making people
slow.
aware. Yeah.
Well, you'd be amazed the kids that'll be waving and you can wave back, and it gives them a good experience to say, "Hey, those guys are kind of friendly."
Yeah.
And the one time the kid was just staring and staring and staring, so I just stopped, popped the brake, put it in neutral, jumped out, and go like, "Hey, buddy, you want to look at it?" And it was like, oh, Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The kid was in there and just having a good time, and I love doing that kind of stuff.
Well, that's you think about, so a full-time department, every culture is different, I know, but many, they eat together. And the one I'm involved in, they eat together. So when I'm down there doing a 24 with them, every shift we go shopping. And I know the community complains about that or this or that, right? Like, oh, you know, they're wasting taxpayer money, da-da-da. Well, that's, learn the fire department before you start complaining about that. Learn what they're doing.
No kidding. Yeah.
So my point is, for them, that's just hey, we got to go eat. So we got to go shopping. But what does it do? Every day, it takes that apparatus out into town because they'll take it to the grocery store or wherever they'll park it. Now they're walking in their uniform through.
And where are they parking it?
They're parking it right in the parking lot, right,
Well, in front of the store, right? Typically, right.
Sometimes a lot of times we park out because if it's not an emergency, we'll park out back.
Oh, got ya.
But sometimes they do. But and then that is always the response, whether it's in the store or coming out. Like it just shows the community you're there. One of the things that I will probably not forgive for a long time that turned into a lot of work, but was also one of the most, in a sense, rewarding, fire department wise things that I've done is when COVID hit, I caught wind that there was a couple of departments, I saw it on Facebook or something that because kids couldn't have birthday parties, they were finding out about these birthday parties and they would take the fire trucks by. Well, I talked to Chief and he's like, I don't care if you want to do that. So I put it out on Facebook. We couldn't keep up with them. We'd have 2 or 3 a day sometimes.
That's very cool.
And it was tiring, but you want to talk about that, letting the community know. And we were all over our coverage area.
Yeah.
It was sad at times we'd have to say no because there was people outside of our coverage area wanting us to come because they couldn't get somebody else to come. But you want to talk about making people's day.
Yeah.
And again, you would say, well, what about all the taxpayer money and fuel? Well, you know what? It's worth it to build that relationship with the community.
And you're talking a minimum amount of money.
Right. And again, none of the guys that were doing that were getting paid. You're literally paying for the fuel.
And I grew up doing ride-alongs on the full-time department that you're on.
Yeah.
And they do eat together. And let me tell you, some of those guys are incredible cooks.
I've never had a bad meal.
Oh my gosh.
Never.
Some of the best meals I've had were on a table that used to be part of a bowling alley that had their emblem burned into the center of it. And I thought that was really
Most
cool
of the tables are now. That's what
now
they've gone
it was
to. Almost all of them.
That was the only one at the time.
The new station, they cut down. There's a big old tree that they cut down, and they made
that's very cool.
table out of that. So.
Nice.
Another thing that's cool when you talk about just being in the community. So one of the reasons I love going to schools is a couple of things. You talk about even just so they're not afraid of you. One of the things I often will do is I'll put on all my gear, all of it, and then I will talk to them because I'll often put on my mask and say, now don't I sound like Darth Vader? And you have a little fun with them. But if there's a
That
kid,
was 40 years ago.
thankfully that's a reference that they all still get. But if you think about it, a kid in a fire is already scared, and then somebody clanking an axe, and we are scary looking coming through the smoke. We don't think about it, but for that kid,
right?
And so I always do that. I'll get down on my hands and knees. I'll talk to them, and then I'll have them call out. I'll call out. I have them, and it's just that little bit of, at least if they're in that spot, hopefully they will remember, oh yeah, those guys aren't scary. And then my absolute favorite thing is when I find people who I'll be walking through the store and a little kid will be staring at me, and then they're like, "Oh, you came to my school,"
Yeah.
So it's just those little connections of it's a small town, so you're running into those people regularly.
You can't really overstate the importance of making that connection, because I know when I was on, we would train. When we would do, rescue training, we had to assume that these kids are scared and they're hiding. Right. They might not be out in the open saying, "Hey, rescue me." They're scared. They're hiding. And so you're not going to go past that closet without checking. You're not going to go past that cubby without checking. Mm-hmm. You're going to check everywhere because they could potentially be scared.
Yep.
You had to assume that, because you might skip past them and then the worst could happen.
Yeah.
So, and then another point about connecting with schools, I'm going to give a little shout out to my nonprofit, School Emergency Response Coalition, because one of the things that we do is once a year, and we only do it once a year because we are small and have limited resources, is we bring local fire, police, EMS to a school for that exact reason, so that kids can get their eyes on them. They can meet them. They can see that they're real people, even when they look scary in a full turnout gear and a mask. Mm-hmm. So they can go through the vehicles, the apparatus, so they can, and really it touches on multiple points. It's building bridges with these kids, but then it's also, and it's showing them that they're not scary. But then it's also giving them a career day as well. So it's opening up the world of public service through being able to go and see what it's like, and they can ask questions and they can get answers from people who are really doing the job and have experience.
Cool.
So
that's great.
School Emergency Response Coalition, you should go check out www.sercmi, that's SERCMI.org. Check out all the cool things that we've been doing.
Yeah, it ties right into this, which is an excellent plug. We plug the coffee, but we don't plug the root of it, right? That's really why you do the coffee.
I do the coffee to help fund the nonprofit that I just spoke about.
Yeah, we often want to make that clear that Jake doesn't pocket money from the coffee.
I take nothing from the coffee.
They get it, most of it, and then we get little bits of it here and there. Kind of
we
thing.
get the cookie crumbs.
Yeah, which is fine. I mean, really,
they get
that's the reality.
They get the AEDs. You guys get the pads.
So, and so we keep talking about that. What's the value? Here's, I'm just thinking about this as well. Just some of the relational side. I got a call. We're a small town, one stoplight. They are building a Taco Bell, so I will no longer be able to say we have no fast food in our.
Wow.
It's like 2 doors down from my house, which is going to be really weird.
He's going to get the run. He's got to run to get the runs.
Really weird or really convenient?
Just weird. I've never lived that close to anything like that. And especially in a small town, it's going to be really weird.
It is weird when you see that in a small town.
But anyways, So you interact with people. Got a call the other day to the grocery store in the deli, and I literally am like, yeah, I see these, because there is no fast food right now. So if you want something like that, what do? You go to the deli. So you interact with the people that work back there a lot. And sure enough, I walk back there, and here's a girl. I don't know her name, but at that point, right, she's introduced herself. We talked, and she looks at me. But the cool thing is, immediately she calms down because it's a friendly face,
familiar,
right? She knew I was on the fire department, so it didn't surprise her that I'm showing up,
right?
But it immediately calmed her down.
Yeah.
And then a couple of days later, I'm walking by, and there she is, and she's just serving somebody. But of course, I'm like, oh, good, she's back to work, right?
Yeah.
And I just kind of wave, and it's that look of like, you got my back, right? So it's that it's neighbors looking out for neighbors.
And what's cool with that, it's both cool. It's both positive and negative of a small town department. Is that you often get to see the result of your work.
Yeah.
Maybe like a week later or so.
Right.
But you'll see them back to work. You'll see them back out in their yard. You'll see them volunteering at the school again. But sometimes they don't. Sometimes the call is not good. And now you're feeling that absence in your community. And so that's, I think, a good one for the two episodes ago of something that we missed is that personal connection.
We talked about that on here, so that's another side of. So I had that very thing last winter. A young man died in an accident. I was on scene, first EMS on scene. Nothing we could do. I was getting to know the mom through my wife and through some connections, right? So I didn't know her well. So I didn't know who he was when I saw him, and I didn't know who Dad was when he showed up with Mom. I went, oh no. Now, you guys all know I'm a pastor in the church. We're all trying to, as a family, there's several in the church. Some knew them well, others not as well, but now the ministry kicks in. Mm-hmm. So my whole point of this is small town, which you said, that's a tough thing to deal with that anytime. I can never get away from that now, right? Like I can never not walk by where Mom works and see that and be reminded.
Right.
Sister, my kids have built a relationship with the older sister. And same thing, when we go in where she works, there's always interaction, right? So in a small town, you don't get away from it.
Yeah, you're right. And that actually brings another point up that I want to touch on. And maybe we've talked about it before. I can't remember. I don't know. It's like 6 a.m. at this point, and I've been up all night doing podcasting and
feels
not
like
sleeping. It feels like it. Anyway, is oftentimes these firefighters, these small town volunteer firefighters, not oftentimes, I would dare say, maybe not always is a dangerous word, but very often, most of the time, they are playing more than one role. For instance, you're a firefighter, but you're also a pastor.
Yep.
And so at some point, another piece is going to kick in and you're going to start ministering. Well, somebody might be a groundskeeper, right?
Yep.
And at some point, that might have to kick in as well. The thing is that these people in the communities, they play multiple roles. And so it's a good thing and a tough thing. It's tough for them because they can't necessarily get away from, some of that stuff. But
here's one for you. Go ahead, finish your butt.
No, now I forgot. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I thought you were done and then you said but. Here's one. Small town, okay? For a while, our fire chief owned the funeral home. Okay?
I mean, that seems like a conflict of interest.
No,
Josh.
well, there probably was some, and I'll say this for those of you who are outsiders, you're civilians listening to this, you will be maybe put off by this, but firefighters will understand what we might call dark humor. There may have been a time or two that we picked on him about how hard his compressions were, or
sure. Yeah,
are things a little slow? Like, should you have been pushing a little harder on those compressions?
Where did my mind go immediately?
Right.
It's a conflict of interest. So, I'm sure you gave him a hard time about it.
But the truth of that is, again, small town, small funeral home, so he found help where he could.
Right.
I would help for a while. He sold it, and I didn't miss when he sold it. But I would help pick up bodies for him as well. It was not unusual because one of the guys I would run rescue with, he helped him as well. It's not unusual to go do CPR, leave, come back an hour later for the funeral home,
Yeah.
pick them up. And there was at least once.
I'm just thinking of how
That
odd it had to be for
it
everybody
is.
who
It's
stood
weird.
there the whole
Yeah,
hour
right.
to see you in that capacity as a
And then
firefighter.
show up again.
And then show up
Yep.
again, yeah.
And then once or twice, this didn't happen all the time, but then who do you think did the funeral? As a pastor.
Yeah.
Small town. It's just you're connected, right? In that sense. And so there's been a lot of times that I've been walking through the store and I've seen somebody staring at me. And I have to think, man, they look familiar. Oh, and I remember, but maybe it was one of those worst calls to where they didn't know, but they knew I was familiar. And I never
You can't acknowledge. That's like
no,
I never have
don't.
either.
And I always think, I wonder if it came back. Now, there are times, like, ran into this lady. She was super friendly when I was on scene. I was on scene for her mom. And I ran into her, and I was like, man, does she look familiar? And when it clicked, I was like, oh. And I genuinely wanted to know how her mom was doing because she was like 80 or someone. Those really sweet old ladies that you just go help, you know? And so I said, hey, how's your mom doing? And I knew she probably wouldn't remember. And she kind of looked at me, and then she goes, oh, and she da-da-da-da-da, which was really cool to be able to get an update on mom.
Yeah.
But I don't do that all the time. That I knew just from our interaction on scene that she would be okay with that. But generally, if you come up to me and you remember, fine, but I'm not about to remind you and be like, I was in your house. I'm glad to see you doing
what
well.
I normally do is somebody will come and go like, I know, and it'll inevitably will be without a shirt on. Because if you got the soul, you got my shirt on, then they know it. People come, where do I know you from? And I'll look at them, I'll go like, you ever call 911? And then they go like, oh, and then it clicks. So,
Yep.
well, time to land this plane, isn't it? Getting close. It's way past my bedtime.
Way past my bedtime.
It's morning.
Well, yeah, you're young.
Oh, right.
Maybe we've been up all night fighting a fire. We don't know.
That's right.
We don't know yet.
We don't know yet.
Remember, some of us had to save the world this afternoon.
Oh, man.
Well, guys, thanks for listening. I always feel like because of our recording rhythm, that by the time we get to the end of the month, we're exhausted because 4 episodes in a night.
It feels like we've been recording all month.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I always kind of have this feeling of, man, thanks for sticking this last one out because
Yep.
because it's it's the last one for us is tough. So thanks for sticking out.
Well, hopefully they started off the day with how Jake,
some of the
Jake
super
says the
strong
coffee that will punch you in the face.
That's right. It's strong enough as though you are being punched in the face.
Oh,
Yes. It is some bold coffee, hopefully as bold as your faith.
Is that bold italic or bold underscore?
Bold, just bold. Bold may be underlined, yeah. So
all right, we're landing.
So
the plane.
anyways, yeah, we're going to land the plane. Real quick, go to redflannelcoffeeco.com. Use promo PJ30 for all of your coffee except for this new coffee because this new coffee helps us out here at the podcast. By helps us out, I mean it helps podcast out. It just goes for the podcast. The Forge and Fire series or Forge and Fire collection of coffee, when you buy a bag of it, you will get a corresponding sticker to go with it. So you don't have to purchase that separate. Otherwise, yeah, find us on
PJ30 code will not work because all proceeds
go
come
to the
directly
podcast.
to the podcast.
That's correct. Yep.
Also, by the time you listen to this, it may or may not still be available
The fire trucks.
because it
Oh, you're talking about the coffee
was
still.
because
this
it's
is for a
super
limited
time.
Only. Yes.
So if it is out and you desperately want it back, either message Jake or message us.
That's right. Yeah, if you're at redflannelcoffeeco.com, you can hit contact us and go ahead and submit a request to bring it back, and
we'll see.
We'll see how fast it sells. So
we'd love to make it a normal. If it's worth it, we got to know if you guys want it.
There we go. Otherwise, find us on Facebook, Instagram, listen to us wherever you get podcasts, and email us at ffifpodcast@gmail.com. And that's a wrap.
See ya.
See ya.